Board of Adjustment Appeals and Examiners to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing if you're going to give testimony and you take the oath. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. If you're going to give any testimony, please raise your right hand and answer the following question. You promise or affirm that any testimony you will give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I do. Thank you. Please be seated. Cell phones to off. Madam Clerk, kindly call the roll.
Sam Greenberg.
Here.
Mike McEnany.
Here.
Charles Foster.
Here.
Daniel Greenberg.
Here.
Henry Mosley.
Here.
James Palavita.
Here. Here.
Kathy Pratt. Here. Doug Shields.
Here.
Thank you.
All present and accounted for. Thank you. Everybody a chance to review the minutes? Look for motion, please.
Motion to approve.
Second, Palavita.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Thank you. Staff, clean up on modern Tampa Bay homes.
Good morning, members of the board. My name is Travis Minnis. I'm the executive manager over building services, or building inspections and code compliance. Last board meeting for the flood damage board, I brought in for affirmation 2 citations. The board passed a motion and brought the citation amount down to 0, but we never actually affirmed the citations or disaffirmed them. So when that happened, I went ahead, since the board brought the amount down to 0, I went ahead and rescinded the citations. So I just wanted to make you aware of that so that it's in record.
Okay, thank you. I don't think we need to take any action. Okay, under new business, affirmations from the county.
Good morning, board members. Matthew Kent, Hillsborough County Code Compliance. I have 2 affirmations of citations for you today. I'll start with case number HC-CMP-21-00000081. The violator is Estate of Donald Eugene Drawdy. Address is 3724 Pettie Road, Dover, Florida, 33527. Allegations are the estate of Donald Eugene Drawdy has failed to obtain a permit for a new mobile home setup and is in willful and deliberate violation of Section 8-1 Hillsborough County Code of Ordinances, Part A HCCCO as follows. 105.1, permit required. Recommendations are the citation be affirmed as written, a fine of $500 and a recording fee be assessed and shall constitute a lien against any real or personal property owned by the violator until the fines have been paid and the property is brought into compliance.
Motion to affirm. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Okay. And second affirmation of citation is case number HC-CMP-21-00000245. The violator is Florida Trust Services LLC / Trustee. The address is 3411 Pearson Road, Valrico, Florida 33596. Allegations are the Florida Trust Services LLC / Trustee has failed to obtain permits for installations of sheds to be used as accessory dwellings and is in willful and deliberate violation of Section 8-1 Hillsborough County Code of Ordinances, Part A HCCCO as follows. 105.1, permit required. Recommendations are the citation be affirmed as written, a fine of $500 and a recording fee be assessed and shall constitute a lien against any real or personal property owned by the violator until the fines have been paid and the property is brought into compliance.
Okay. Look for motion to affirm.
Motion to affirm.
Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Thank you, board
Thank
members.
you.
Good morning, board members. My name is Rick Finley. I'm a construction codes inspector with Code Compliance, Hillsborough County. I have 6 affirmations for you today. The first affirmation I have is case number HCCMP-21-000035. The violator is Juana, Valencia. Address of violation is 11404 Orange Grove Terrace, Riverview, Florida, 33569. Allegations: Juana Valencia has failed to obtain permits for accessory structure over 150 square foot. Scope of work to include electrical and plumbing, and is in willful and deliberate violation of Section 8-1 Hillsborough County Code of Ordinances, Part A, HCCCO as follows. 105.1, permit required. Recommendations: citation be affirmed as written. A fine of $500 and a recording fee be assessed and shall constitute a lien against any real or personal property owned by the violator until the fines have been paid and the property is brought into compliance.
Need a motion? Second?
Foster, second.
Under discussion, do we know if the power's been connected to this structure?
Yes, it has. As far as I can tell from the right of way, yes.
Okay. What we've typically done is ask for the power to be disconnected from it as a matter of life safety. I don't know if Travis wants to weigh in on that or if we're not appropriate or what. So I know I had talked to the building official about it. It's something that staff needs to be aware of when they're unpermitted structures or electrical has not been properly inspected and we don't know if it's connected properly, that it's an additional burden just to make sure the homeowner doesn't burn down the neighborhood. One of my employees, her parents' garage, the refrigerator short-circuited and burned the garage to the ground. So that's just my 2 cents as the chairman. Okay, anybody else? The building official can order Tico to take care of it.
Okay.
It's within his purview under the statutes. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Thank you. My next case is case number HC-CMP-21-00000200. Violator Kimberly and Majid Barsoum. Address of violation 9908 California Street, Gibsonton, Florida, 33534. Allegations: Kimberly and Majid Barsoum have failed to obtain permits for accessory structure over 150 square feet and is in willful and deliberate violation of Section 8-1 Hillsborough County Code of Ordinances, Part A, HCCCO as follows. 105.1, permit required. Recommendations: citation be affirmed as written. A fine of $500 and a recording fee be assessed and shall constitute a lien against any real or personal property owned by the violator until the fines have been paid and the property is brought into compliance.
Need a motion to affirm.
Motion to affirm.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
My next case is case number HC-CMP-21-00000258. The violator is 2017-2 IH Borrower LP. Address of violation is 10467 Hallmark Boulevard, Riverview, Florida, 33578. Allegations: 2017-2 IH Borrower LP has failed to obtain permits for demo and install of plywood and stucco on both gables of home, and is in willful and deliberate violation of Section 8-1 Hillsborough County Code of Ordinances, Part A, HCCCO, as follows. 105.1, permit required. Recommendations, citation be affirmed as written, a fine of $500 and a recording fee be assessed and shall constitute a lien against any real or personal property owned by the violator until the fines have been paid and the property is brought into compliance.
Need a motion to affirm?
Motion to affirm.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
My next case is case number HC-CMP-21-0000284. Violator is Dunier, Rangel. Address of violation is 11402 McMullen Loop, Riverview, Florida, 33569. Allegations: Dunier Rangel has failed to obtain permits for accessory structure attached to home and failure to obtain permit for accessory structure over 150 square feet and elevated above 30 inches from grade, and is in willful and deliberate violation of Section 8-1 Hillsborough County Code of Ordinances, Part A, HCCCO, as follows. 105.1, permit required. Recommendations, citation be affirmed as written, a fine of $500 and a recording fee be assessed and shall constitute a lien against any real or personal property owned by the violator until the fines have been paid and the property is brought into compliance.
Need a motion?
Second.
Mosley and then McEnany. Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
My next case is case number HC-CMP-21-0000380. Violator is Ruben Fuentes Jr. III. Address of violation is 2912 Ince Drive, Ruskin, Florida, 33570. Allegations: Ruben Fuentes Jr. III has failed to obtain permits for accessory structure over 150 square feet and attached to the mobile home. He's also failed to obtain permits for a front deck over 30 inches from grade and attached to the mobile home, and is in willful and deliberate violation of Section 8-1 Hillsborough County Code of Ordinances, Part A, HCCCO, as follows. 105.1, permit required. Recommendations, citation be affirmed as written, a fine of $500 and a recording fee be assessed and shall constitute a lien against any real or personal property owned by the violator until the fines have been paid and the property is brought into compliance.
Need a motion?
Motion to affirm.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
My last case for today is case number HC-CMP-21-0000310. Violator is Daniel Vargas. Address of violation is 307 Corbett Bluff Drive, Ruskin, Florida, 33570. Allegations: Daniel Vargas has failed to obtain permit for a deck over 30 inches from grade and failed to obtain permit for above-ground swimming pool, and is in willful and deliberate violation of Section 8-1 Hillsborough County Code of Ordinances, Part A, HCCCO, as follows. 105.1, permit required. Recommendations, citation be affirmed as written, a fine of $500 and recording fee be assessed and shall constitute a lien against any real or personal property owned by the violator until the fines have been paid and the property is brought into compliance.
Motion?
Motion to affirm.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Thank you, board members.
Thank you.
Good morning, board members. My name is Daniel Roman. I'm with Hillsborough County Code of Compliance Inspector. My first case for you today, it will be case number HC CMP 21-0000062. Violator Annette Olivio, address 8024 Jackson Springs Road, Tampa, Florida, 33653241. Annette Olivio has failed to obtain permit for conversion of garage into accessory dwelling unit and is in willful and deliberate violation of section 8-1 Hillsborough County Code of Ordinance, Part H ACCO as follows. 105.1 permit required. Recommendations. Citation be affirmed as written. A fine of $500 and a recording fee be assessed and shall constitute a lien against any real or personal property owned by the violator until the fines have been paid and the property is brought into compliance.
Motion,
Motion to affirm.
discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
My next case is case number HC CMP 21-0000276. Violator is Ramiro G. Campagnani. Address is at 12015 North Oregon Avenue. Allegations. Ramiro G. Campagnani has failed to obtain permits for concrete fence with 2 electrical gates in the front of home for the construction of a retaining wall leading into the wetlands, reference to variance 19-0786. The unlawful continuance of construction and is in willful and deliberate violation of section 8-1 Hillsborough County Code of Ordinance, Part A, HCCCO, as follows. 105.1 permits required and 115.3 unlawful continuance. Any person who shall continue any work after having been served with a stop work order, except such work as the person is directed to perform to remove violation or unsafe conditions, shall be subject to penalties and prescribed by the law. Recommendations. Citation be affirmed as written. A fine of $500 and a recording fee be assessed and shall constitute a lien against any real property, personal no property owned by the violator until the fines have been paid and the property is brought into compliance.
Motion,
Second.
discussion. Mike?
So it says here unlawful continuance. This is the second or third notice that this address has had, correct?
This address was originally, they didn't have a permit. They went ahead and did, it was like a stem wall into the wetlands. This gentleman is disabled, so he wanted to bring the elevation of the back so that they can enjoy the back, basically, because it was too steep in the back. So they went through the whole variance and it was approved. But at that time, he has his prints on him, but he never got the permits for it. So, yeah. And then we were called in a second time after that, which that they were continuing. After I told them to go ahead, we gave them a stop work order. They continued to do the construction of the stem wall and the rear.
So they received citations on those other visits, I guess?
No, that was not, we were not called for the first ones. It was he was going through a variance and he believed, because the variance was approved, he believed that he did not need a permit.
I see. Okay, just curious, because it seems like this has been going on for a little bit, looking at the dates.
Okay, good. Anybody else? All's in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
My last affirmation of citation is case number HC-CMP 21-0000356. Violator Lázaro Fuentes, address 116 Duval Drive. Allegations. Lázaro Fuentes has failed to obtain permits for building additions of accessory dwelling and is in willful and deliberate violation of Section 8-1 Hillsborough County Code of Ordinance, Part A, HCCCO, as follows. 105.1, permit required. Recommendations. Citation be affirmed as written. A fine of $500 and a recording fee be assessed and shall constitute a lien against any real personal property owned by the violator until the fines have been paid and the property is brought into compliance.
Motion?
Motion to affirm.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Thank you.
So I would like to move into the next portion, the affidavit of violation.
I just need to verify if the person is here. Mr. Lantis? Okay. We're good. Go ahead.
Okay. Case number HCCMP 21-0000313. Lázaro, violator is Lázaro Rolando Lantes. Address is 2121 West Kira Drive. Allegations. General contractor Lázaro Rolando Lantes of Lantes Construction Services is in willful and deliberate violation of Section 8-1 Hillsborough County Code of Ordinance, Part A, HCCO, as follows. 105.1, when required, failure to provide residential new construction and additions permit for the construction of a room over a garage and awning on the side of the building. 2, in 115.3, unlawful continuance. Any person who shall continue any work after having been served with a stop work order except such work as the person is directed to perform to remove a violation or unsafe conditions shall be subject to penalties as prescribed by the law. Recommendations. The contractor's permitting privileges be suspending in Hillsborough County, City of Tampa, and City of Plant City, and City of Temple Terrace.
Okay, hang on. Do you have more to present or time to ask questions?
Yeah, that's good for that one.
Okay, well, this is different than the other cases.
Correct.
Was a permit not issued?
The permit was originally issued under an RGB, but I guess they didn't know that the permit was expired. So we requested for them to go ahead and get that, but we did give them a stop work order so that they can get their permit, so that they can continue. After the 30 days have completed, the permit was still not issued, and the work was being completed.
Okay, so it's expired because of the 180 day time limit?
That's correct.
Okay, and they just never reactivated the permit?
Yes, they had to reapply for it under the new ASELA, which is what he was trying to do, yeah.
Okay, and was there a code change in between or just the change to ASELA?
It just a change to ASELA. They just needed to reopen it basically so that they can
Or get it reinstated by
reinstate it,
reapplying?
yes.
Okay. Anybody else questions?
Yeah, you said it was RGB. I'm not familiar with that acronym.
It was the old residential building permits that were issued.
Okay, before the digital.
Trying to ASELA.
Yeah, it was-
RGBs.
All right, so it wasn't like it was a trade permit and they've exceeded
No,
the scope
no,
of that.
no,
Okay.
it was for the building permit, yes.
Okay, anybody else?
Yes, so to understand this, so he pulled a permit. Then he let the permit expire before he started the work.
Correct.
He started the work. You guys told him to stop. because his permit was expired.
Correct.
And then he continued to work.
After the 30 days after I completed my second site visit,
Yeah.
because we have to allow for the 30 days to pass. When we went out there, they were almost done.
Okay. And then has he since tried to apply for the second permit or?
The permit is being applied for. The last time that I checked, a couple days ago, it was still not issued because they were doing some plan reviews, but I don't know its status as of right now.
Did you have a chance to check his work? Was everything, did you have a chance to check what his work, or you just noted that he started work again without a permit?
No, we have the photos of the kind of the before and after.
Right.
When we did our initial inspection.
Yeah.
There was a double sliding glass door that was still not installed, and you can see that there was no drywall inside. Even from the
Right.
ground, you can see that
So there was no building violations that you're aware of other than the permit expired?
correct. Yeah.
Thank you.
But no inspections were not done because you didn't have an active permit.
Because it was not active, correct.
Okay. All right, good. Microphone.
The last inspection you made on the job was what inspection? Real inspection, before the permit expired?
Before the permit expired,
Had you made
Uh,
any inspections on the job before the permit expired?
I'm not aware of, sir.
Okay, so,
That I did not verify.
okay, I mean, at some point, it sounds like that the permit expired because of lack of inspections. I think that's a process where the permit will expire if you haven't called for an inspection in what, 180 days?
180 days.
Okay, so he got some inspections on the project, didn't call for another one for 180 days, and then it expired, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. Just want to make sure that's clear, because that's different than what, if you didn't know that it could expire after a certain amount of period. So the only work did he get his electrical, mechanical, and plumbing rough ends? Do you know?
Not on top of my head. I did not
I
verify.
think that's relevant. I'd like to know that.
Okay.
Okay, good.
I think staff's looking up that answer to that question for us.
Okay,
Board, we're checking in the permit right now.
okay.
It had footers, bond beam. Sorry. Chief Crockett, Chief of Code Compliance, Hillsborough County. It did have a few inspections. It had the footers and the bond beam. It did have a framing, roof sheathing. And that may be it.
Just a question about the roof
That's it.
framing. He would have had to have had his electrical, mechanical, and plumbing before his framing, correct? Okay, so he's got his 3 trades through there.
But, sorry.
Usually they'll
It's
give it to
a
you.
deck expansion. Is this the correct permit, the deck expansion?
No, this is the second story of
Addition
the
of,
addition of a room over the garage.
Okay. A little bit of change of fact here. That permit was actually denied. It was never issued. That, it never had anything on there. It was denied for there was an ATF that they had to resolve that as a result of the code case before this permit would be issued. The ATF was denied, which was converting the garage into the living space. So neither one of those 2 permits were ever issued.
okay, that's some clarity there.
Okay. You have a question for staff? Dan? Anybody else questions for staff? We'll call you back if we need you.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Contractor? Were you here when we gave the oath? I think you came in late, right?
I came in late, yes, sir.
All right, so raise your right hand. Answer the following question. Do you promise or affirm to any testimony that you will give be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
That is correct.
Thank you, sir. Your name and address, please.
My name is Lazaro Lantes. My address is 1201 North New Jersey Avenue.
Okay. Tell us what's your side at this point.
I went ahead and submitted a set of prints to the county during before the system migration was taking place. That was the RGB that Mr. Referred to. When I submitted the plans, I submitted a revision. The homeowner has done several changes to the revision of the plans. Initially, it was a larger addition in the garage. And then he modified it to a smaller addition with an exterior staircase. We went ahead and submitted all the paperwork for the initial revision of the plans. At this time, he was playing football in Denver. So we got it through the first review, and the reviewer has some comments on it. I got the printouts, but once I submitted the plans and got everything rolling, there was outstanding issues with that property. Initially, the homeowner was building a converted garage to make it a theater and another room, and he did that without a permit. But during my contract phase, he did not inform me of that. So I went ahead and submitted a certificate of elevation that they requested of me, a worksheet from FEMA, and all the paperwork that was submitted. When I got to the site, the homeowner was asking me when I'm going to start the project. I said, listen, we are right now in the process of getting the permits approved. But we got to go through a new system now that we got to submit. So I contacted the county and got some email responses that this was like during the December, January period where you have to go to the garage and deposit all your documents, and they will take it back to the 19th floor. So we had all this cycle going on, and the permit never got put into the new system. And just to be honest with you guys, he was pressuring me to get the work started. And I was already with Trustee's, order, everything going. So I went ahead and started the work on the project. So that's when Mr. Daniel came, and it has been a challenging project for me.
Okay, so
I've been building since 2003 in the county for many years, and I never and this one and the other one that was a Russian couple. I never had so many issues with the system transfer and this coronavirus thing.
okay. So you've never had a permit for this address?
The permit was going to be issued, but we ran into that ADF after the fact and all that. So the permit was never approved. No,
So
sir.
the permit
It was
never
denied.
issued.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Then you tried to get an ATF.
Right. Well, I tried to solve the other issues because they made a requirement. If you look at this.
Trying to find that part out.
lost sound.
So sorry. So as you can see that this is the obstacle that I ran into over here with the code compliance case that I was not aware that he had open. And the reference on both the garage conversion that he did not do the permit, and he had other issues with the filling the site in the rear that he brought into a wetland situation and put an official turf on. So I was trying to get the job done. It was that period of time that it was being hard for everybody. And, you know, I was being pressured to get everything done on that job. So I did not, I went ahead and proceeded with the work.
So you never had a permit to this day. You still don't have a permit.
Well, we applied.
You don't have a permit.
There was three revisions. Right now, we don't have a permit. We applied for the permit under the new system. And with the new change that he made, he was constantly rushing me. He's like, I got a $70,000 video game that I got to put up there. And you know, I falter. So.
Okay. You mentioned before about FEMA. Are you in a flood zone? Is this on?
I checked this. He's in.
The actual new addition is not in a flood zone. We went ahead and did this.
The property is in an AE zone.
Yeah, but it is the area. But I don't know if you can see this here. This is the actual wetland delineation here, and the addition is going to be here.
That's the X. I looked it up on property.
But they asked me to do a FEMA worksheet on it. I did a FEMA worksheet. I did a form for changing contractors. I submitted that. Let me show you the email.
Well, I think the concern, if I may, is that you didn't get any inspections through the entirety of the work on this particular project. So permit or no permit, the work's not been verified.
Right.
So that's a big deal. I mean, I know you got a lot of pressure from the client, but I mean, you broke the rules, man. Big
Well, no,
time.
I do understand that I broke the rules in that matter. If you can see on the permit that I pulled, I was going to do it with private provider, so they can verify. I do have all the pictures of all the exposed work and all the reinforcement, and everything is according to details as was originally in the plans.
Okay, so you kind of planned on going after the fact for this.
Well, I mean, I don't know if it was, I was planning to go with a private provider since it was feeling hard that the county was going to do the inspections. But, you know, I could either do it after the fact or a private provider.
Do you got any current jobs going
Yes, sir, I do. I do have jobs in the city of Tampa and Hillsborough County.
and they're all permitted?
Yes, sir.
Anybody else questions? Who is your private provider that you're going to use? Just
We're
out of
going to
curiosity.
use, have an architect. His name is Peter Afonso.
Okay. So as we sit here today, has the work stopped now? or
The
you
work
can-
stops. Yeah, I did call, forget the gentleman's name. His supervisor, I talked to him and I explained to him also that the work has stopped. As of today, the owner, and I can show you some texts, the owner is asking me, it's like, hey, you're taking too long to finish the job. What's going on with you? Blah, 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 blah. And
That wasn't my question.
yeah,
The work on the house.
the work on the house
addition
has
has stopped.
stopped. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And you've applied, you're still in permit limbo with Acela.
Yeah, I submitted the plans, and I think they're asking me now to give the providers information. So he was out in Guyana, And he's coming back, so he's going to provide me with all that information.
Okay, but do we know the status of the plan review?
They're waiting on my reply for the provider.
Okay, so, okay. All right. Anybody else, any questions?
Well, so we're being asked to affirm this affidavit, is that correct?
Just two parts to this.
Okay.
It's different than a straight affirmation.
Well, what are our options? Like, me personally, I'm not feeling like stripping this gentleman's,
Okay, let me tell you what the options are.
Okay.
There's two parts when you have this type of case. The first is guilt or innocence on the charges. And then there's a penalty phase. So that's how it works.
Okay.
Does anybody else have any questions, comments, or I know for some of you, this is the first time we've done these in a while, so. But that's how the operation works. So I need a motion to, go ahead.
I was just talking with Henry. Didn't you say the permitting is a big problem? There's a big.
It's definitely, I think
Hillsborough County is trying to get up to speed with Excella. And where, municipalities that have been on the system for a while are more fluid. There's ways to contact the plans examiners. Hillsborough County is like, a cloud. And you get requests to do things and it's just a little bit more onerous than the city of Tampa and Clearwater.
Is this a recent thing or has this been?
Excel is sort of new for the county. I guess I'd have to ask them exactly when they shifted over, but it's
January.
They shifted on the 19th of January.
yeah, it's
Am I crazy, but does this seem, when you get a homeowner that's really pushing you and.
no, you should never have started this job. It's real simple. You have a permit or you don't.
Right.
And, commencing with work on a project without a complete approved set of plans, it's just, you just don't do that. So that's in my humble opinion. Doing something with, after the fact is always, after the fact and it's the burden's going to be on the contractor to get that done, but it doesn't mean that he was in any way right, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So even if Hillsborough County is a little, still trying to get up to speed. So.
in defense of the county and having known a ton of the people, Acela is unique in each county. And I was on the phone the other day with the flood hazard guy from the city, whose name is Dave Jennings, and their Acela works perfectly. But as we know, they were like the first ones in town
Right.
to get Acela up to speed. Hillsborough came next. In Manatee County, where we just had a roofing after the fact, by a day, they had energized their system and no longer accepted anything other than through their portal.
Right.
And you got to get every piece of paper. And there was this ongoing argument down there where people were being really stupid, writing nasty emails to staff going, "You're ridiculous. Why should we have to label the pieces of paper or the files a specific way?" Because that's the rule.
Yeah.
Okay.
Real fun.
I'm sorry that Acela is a challenge. We work in probably half a dozen municipalities and you have to have different usernames and passwords for
Right.
each one.
Yeah.
So yes, it's cumbersome, but in defense, there's tutorials online. They offered classes. They did a bunch of stuff, TBVA sponsored classes. It's not that complicated. So that's really not an excuse. Bottom line is either yes, you have a permit or no, you don't.
That's
You don't have
right.
a permit
That's right.
and the homeowner's giving you grief, walk away from the job.
Right.
I can tell you that, right?
It's
Yeah.
hard to.
Yeah. Working without a permit's the
It
bottom line.
was, yeah, no, I totally agree that it's my responsibility that I started the job. And I just, so I can affirm the gentleman's, the city of Tampa does have implemented the Acela system. The Acela system is very, very useful. But during the time of November and December, the county was running on 3 systems. It was running on the makeshift COVID system where you had to come into the
I know, but
garage.
it's still, I'm sorry, it's really still not an excuse. Okay?
No, I'm not, I'm giving you an excuse. I'm just
Okay.
saying the facts.
We all know because we're all in the business and we're all strangled by all the municipalities and they're all different. Acela was supposed to be this cure-all to end all,
Right.
but it didn't work quite that way. And in other states, it works great in Atlanta, but it doesn't work quite that well here yet, but they're getting there. I know there's challenges and there's whole committees in each of the municipalities that work
The
on
city of
it.
Tampa had the same issues when
Yeah,
they
all-
implemented it, the same
yeah.
thing. I do
Okay.
remember.
Staff, any final words? Nope, okay. So like I said before, there's two parts to the deliberation. One is the allegation. Either you make a motion to find him guilty or not guilty on the allegation. So I'll entertain that first.
Well,
This
go ahead. Go ahead, Doug.
I say that we find him guilty of the allegation. Make a
One and
motion.
two?
Excuse me?
1 and 2, or do you want to do them separately? What do you want to do?
1 and 2.
Okay, that's your motion.
Yes, sir.
Mosley will second.
Okay, any discussion? No. All those in favor of the motion to find the contractor guilty of allegation 1 and 2, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Next is the staff recommendations. What's your pleasure?
Well, personally, I think given the circumstances, I don't feel that this is the correct course of action. Maybe we can get a little bit more clarity on the project and come back to this, but I don't know.
You have all these facts. That's why we're at this stage of the deliberation. You do have some leeway. You know, if you want to be judicious and say, okay, there were some extenuating circumstances, you can say not permanent, not the way this is written, permitting privileges be suspended. It doesn't give an end date, doesn't give any information on, on other projects. Is he out of luck, today, once this is executed? You want to be a little more liberal about it or understanding. This is where you can recraft the penalty portion.
Sam, how long will staff tell us how long it'll take him to get all this permitting corrected?
Well, the contractor just said that staff's waiting on him to get his private provider affidavits in, which is merely a matter of, and Jim can confirm, the paperwork gets signed, notarized, and sent in. It's a couple of hours once it goes in. So, like I said, the recommendation does seem a little severe for what went on, but that's up to you guys and Katie, Kathy to degree on.
If it's your belief, if you believe this also, is 30 days long enough for him to get this cleared up? If it's not cleared up in 30 days, can we make a motion that after 30 days his license is suspended?
We can do whatever we'd like within the statute, and Joy can give you further guidance if you need it.
Henry, your thoughts on that?
I guess I'd like to know the status of the other work he's got going on. If you suspend his license and he's got other projects going on, then those will be impacted. And I think just as a matter of discussion, giving him a timetable to get an approved set of plans that a private provider then could, work his way through is probably the first step. And then secondly, making sure that that's happening in a timely manner.
Okay, but it sounds like staff's doing the review and private providers only doing inspections.
That's correct. Yeah, that's what I mean.
Plan. So they don't even need to review the plans for the permit. They just need to issue the paperwork to the county so the county can issue the permit. They can proceed.
Yeah, but the county's got to have a set of documents to review.
They have them already. That's what he said.
They haven't reviewed them yet.
Yeah, I think there's probably still more to the permitting process that meets the eye, especially right now. I'm not sure. We don't know what he submitted. It could be, something that came out of, a good office and something that, is probably not ever going to get a permit. So, I think we got to give him a timetable and, revisit this, in a short period of time, I think is probably what I would be doing. So.
You want to make that motion?
Yeah, give me 1 second to sort of collect my thoughts on it.
Okay.
Um, okay. I think I'd probably make a motion to, table this or give the contractor 45 days to obtain a permit. And, just table the thing for 30 days to have the contractor come back and before the board so that we can, to monitor the process. I'm not sure if that makes any sense to anybody, but, he's got to get a permit first, and I don't know the status of the permit. I think that's so.
So 45 days to get a permit.
45 days to get a permit. Okay. And, you know, at the next, I guess what's our next board hearing going to be? January. So that would give him the 45 days to do that and then bring him back for the January board and just, you know, table till then to give him a chance to get a permit and just see if it's in motion. If it's not in motion, then we can suspend his license at that point.
We want to tack on any completed inspections onto that?
No, I
You
think
said
the
completed.
provider in the county is going
Yeah,
to issue or not issue a permit in 45 days and get him in motion. And if he does not have it done, then we can suspend his license at that point.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Does staff have a comment? Can we get staff to commit to assisting with getting the permit through? Travis?
I got two I would like to add. Yeah, let me stick mine in there. Okay.
I'm sorry, could you please repeat?
Will staff, commit to helping him get through provide everything is submitted timely? Can staff assist in getting it issued?
Yes, we'll help them with that. It's right now currently waiting for some documents to be resubmitted. There's been some corrections needed. So.
Okay, thanks. So 45 days to get the permit, staff will assist, and then report back in January that substantial progress is done within the rules, and then we'll hold the voting on recommendation till then. Have a motion, have second by Foster. Joy, are we okay with that wording?
Yes, Sam, that sounds good.
Okay. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Okay? Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes?
can I get for clarification, if his permit is obtained and issued in 45 days, does he need to come back to the board for a status update, or will the board be satisfied with just?
We want a status update at the January meeting.
Absolutely. Okay, thank you.
Okay?
Just for clarification, right now we are running 30 days for a residential permit if all materials have been supplied. So we will have no problem getting the permit issued as long as we're not waiting for stuff to come in.
Okay, thank you, sir. We're going to take a 5-minute break and then we'll come back.
Yeah, hand me your gun.
Thank you. And it's now 10:02. We're back on. Next case, please.
Thank you. My next case is case number HCCMP 21 0000420. Violator Lázaro Rolando Lantes. Address 8016 Bay Drive, Tampa, Florida 33635. Allegation, Mr. Rolando Lantes, license number CBC 1250798 from Lantes Construction Services LLC has issued a false certificate of occupancy to Mr. and Mrs. Sergey and Ruslana Kashkut, residing at 8016 Bay Drive. Florida Building Code 111.1, use of occupancy. No building or structure shall be used or occupied, and no change in the existing occupancy classification of the building or structure or portion thereof shall be made until the building official has issued a certificate of occupancy. Therefore, as for provided herein. HCCC 8, Article 1, Section 8-1, Part 113.6.2. 1. Grounds for revocation or suspension. Evidence that a certificate of registration has been obtained by fraud or misrepresentation. Recommendations. Citation be affirmed as written. The license holder's ability to have permits issued in Hillsborough County and jurisdictions within be suspended or revoked.
What, question time? Do you have anything you want to add?
No, not at this time.
Go ahead.
So is the accusation that Mr. Lances has actually forged a document? Like from scratch?
That's what it seems like, yes. We have a copy of the actual document.
I see that on here. Some nice Photoshop work.
Anybody else question for staff? Go ahead, Henry.
There was a permit previously issued on this project, or was no permit ever issued?
Yes, there was a permit issued on it. The permit was, I believe the last thing that it was waiting was the elevations certificate so that they can issue out the CO.
So there's really no reason for him to have done this other than maybe to expedite payment or something like that? Is that what you're thinking? Okay, you don't want to speculate?
Yeah.
So there was a permit, he got a final inspection, the only thing he was waiting for was a flood certificate?
Yes, sir.
Okay, but in the meantime, for some reason we don't know about or care about, he forged a CO on the project.
Yes, sir. That's
Okay.
what we were calling it. Yes, sir.
All
Is
right.
this a remodeling or an expansion of something, or not, doesn't look like a whole house
It was a remodel
in the flood zone?
in a flood zone area.
Okay.
Okay.
Was there a problem with the flood certificate? Do you know? If,
No, that I know about. No, there was some communication back and forth with permitting about it, but no.
Okay. Anybody else for staff? You can always call them back. Contractor? Give your name and address, please, again.
Solantes, 1201 North New Jersey Avenue, Tampa, Florida, 33607.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, it's the permit that Mr. I forgot his name. Referring to, it's not an addition, it's a single family residence that I pulled back in 2017, I'm sorry. We started working with this couple that came from Russia to go ahead and build them a new home. Originally, they contracted another contractor. They submitted a set of prints that was approved by the county. Apparently, the contractor took their deposit, a $30,000 deposit, and walked away with the money. And I went ahead and started finishing their house. When we got to the point that we got everything final out, we have everything final out, there was an issue with the certificate of elevation. The permit was expiring on 11/9/2020. I went ahead and renewed the permit and contacted the county. This is January the 6th. This is when they were able to renew the permit back. Here's the letter. I was able to get permission to extend the permit to March 31st, 2021. With no fees due. Please use your last payment on 10/20 to get an issue redo on it. The permit was extended. I went ahead and submitted the revised comments that I submitted on the 28th of December, all the comments with a corrected elevation certificate. This was done at the garage location, and it had the firm date that Mr.
Do you have a copy of the elevation certificate?
have it electronically, but. In this location, you could submit the plans on paper and submit any electronic file with the Adobe seal on it with a pen drive, and they will take it to the 19th floor, and then they will enter in the system. I went ahead and
Point of order.
Yeah, the question is, did you fraudulently fill out a certificate of occupancy?
No. No, sir, no.
Then where did that document come from?
You guys have, at this point, you have 3 systems working. You have the COVID system, filling it up, and then this is the optic system, where I downloaded the certificate from. I gave them to the couple. They had not paid me because all of these expenses.
Okay, you're not answering the question.
Yeah.
Let's go back a few steps first off. You said another contractor pulled the initial permit?
They pulled the initial permit, yes,
Okay,
sir.
did they notify
Yeah,
the
they
building?
changed it, we went through the whole cycle.
Okay, so information was sent to the building department that you were taking over the permit. Was
Right.
reissued?
Yes, sir.
Please let me finish.
Go ahead.
Was it reissued under your name?
Yes, sir, it was, yeah.
Okay. Subsequently, the permit expired
Right.
for whatever reason. You didn't finish the work on time in payments or whatever, so now permits reissued, they're extended, renewed, and your name.
Yeah, the permit, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Where'd the certificate come from?
This is the optic system that you guys had. You guys have, that time you were migrating to Excel, and you have an optic system which is a public domain.
Okay, so you said it came from optics.
Yeah.
Staff, you're claiming that it's fraudulent. Where did it come, how did he get this, or where did it come from? Is it not in optics? The certificate that's part of our package, that's labeled forged documents, is it a forgery or is it actually in optics?
I actually had the couple give it to them.
I'm asking staff.
When we submitted that to permitting to verify its validity, no, it's not anywhere there.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. The burden of this proof is upon you to prove that it's in their system. They're saying it's not in their system.
Well, this is what I'm saying. This is from my telephone. When I send them the picture on February 17, I document everything because these people were very hard to pay. The reason that the permit expires because they wanted to add a pool at the other time. And I had to wait for the pool permit to get finished before they pay me. So I didn't make the certificate so I get paid because I didn't get paid until the last minute when everything was done.
Okay.
Okay, sorry, could you just repeat what you just said? You said you made the certificate so you could get paid?
No, sir. No, I didn't say that.
Oh, okay.
No. Because they're implying that I made the certificate to get paid. I didn't get paid until they finished the
They,
pool.
who is they? The county or the client? The homeowner?
I'm sorry?
Who is they? The county or the?
Well, whoever implied that I was doing it to get paid. I mean, when these people, they.
Well, the reasoning is inconsequential. Did you download it?
I downloaded it from.
Or did you Photoshop it?
No, I downloaded it from Optics. This is an Optics screen. And he has a copy that the owners gave him. The owners called me. He says, there's an inspector here asking for you and, asking for the certificate. So I said, well, give it to him. I don't have nothing to hide. So they should go and they didn't give you a certificate?
I thought this Mosley, just a question. I always thought that if you needed a certificate, it's something John Barrio signs.
Yes.
Doesn't John sign every one of these? And then it's in the computer now. Yeah. Okay. I remember having to wait on some that John had to sign a couple of years ago.
I mean, I went to the expense of paying the certificate for the elevation again, having to do another revision on the vents because they had a new revision and I had to add 4 vents to the house just to get this thing out of my hair.
Isn't it also true you have to pay for a paper copy? Is that what I remember? Is that if you actually want, you could download a
You
copy?
can download it from the system.
Yeah.
The new system, you can download it from the new system.
Okay.
I mean, I have.
Mike.
See if I can. Mike.
There you
How
go.
about there? Okay. Jim Blink with Hillsborough County Building Services. What we've done is when we were using optics, everything, once the permit was issued, everything then was saved in optics. That was in optics, it's open to the public. They can download any document they need once it's in optics. When it was in Permits Plus, it wasn't available. So it didn't get put into optics until we issued the permit. We only issue one certificate of occupancy for a single family dwelling. Once that dwelling is completed the first time, it's a certificate of occupancy. If somebody puts an addition on the house, then it becomes a certificate of work completion.
Correct.
And we issue that when they get a final for that addition. So let's not mix up those two documents there. But when it's in optics, it's there to anybody. It's all public record. Now with Excella, since we have a public side of Excella, anybody can go into Excella and they can look at whatever documents there. Once it's downloaded, it becomes public record. Even before that permit is issued, is that person that registers into Excella, go look at the documents, print them out, whatever they choose to do. So it's all public record. You can also we've also provided, since we've closed down Permits Plus, you can go on a public's website and look at any permit and look at all the documents that are associated with that permit. So it's public record and you can print them off because I've done it. So that's the difference. So there's a lot of information out there now. So.
This was an addition?
No, this is
No.
a new home.
It's a new home.
New home,
And I
okay.
just went through optics and that certificate of occupancy is not in optics. And the one that the homeowner actually had issued at a later date is in there, and it wouldn't have been in that format at the date that he's saying it was done, because it would have been an Excel certificate of occupancy, was an entirely different form.
What do you, sorry. What they're saying is that it was in one system and it was not another system? In the
It's not
permit
in
manager?
optics, as you're alleging, but it is in Acela, but it's doesn't look
Well,
like
the
this.
new one is not in optics. I
The
just
new
looked it up
one's
last
in
night.
Acela.
It's in optics. The other one is in optics.
The new one is in optics because the permit was done in
Okay.
optics, but the CO was issued from Excel, because we don't go back and issue COs from the old system. So it would have never been in that format at the time he's claiming that he got that CO. It would have been from Excel, like the one that's currently in optics that was later obtained by the homeowner.
So Absella was done on what she is right now. January 18th, correct, yeah. I have the printout here from the lady. And then when I went ahead and asked the lady for the progress, if it was in the new system, she replied to me, we have no way to locating the permit until it has gone through intake and a permit number is created with at least we are at least 3 weeks behind right now, and we're trying to catch up on intakes. Once we intake the permits, then we'll release a confirmation by email with the permit numbers. This is for the new, because they were going to take it from the old system and put it into the Excel.
Okay, let's circle back. The allegation is that you forged a document. You need to prove to us that you didn't. And from what I'm seeing as one person, I'm not seeing that you didn't forge it because you can't provide anything.
I mean, why would I forge a CO? For what reason?
We don't know. You have to prove to us that it's not.
I'm proving what I got it from, and I even told the lady to give him the CO. I don't have nothing to gain to fake a CO.
Who signed the certificate? What's the name that's signed on there?
I don't know, sir. I cannot tell. This is the only copy that I have. I went through my phone just to get proof to defend myself.
Yeah, the certificate of occupancies have a computer-generated signature for John Barrios. He does not sign each one. So it is John's signature as it appears on the certificate of occupancy.
Travis, how do you think is it possible that he got this thing?
IIO, we had IIO check go through Permits Plus, which is the system where that would have come out of. They have no record of ever issuing a CO for that property until the homeowner did it later. And like I said, that certificate of occupancy was done through Excel.
Where did he get?
No, I did the other one. I went through the whole process again.
Where do you think he got this certificate of occupancy?
Well, I mean, you can download one from Optics for any address, and then as everybody knows, you can go into a program and change addresses or dates or whatever you want to do. That's how creative you want to get.
Anybody else? Questions?
This is particularly concerning given the previous case we just talked about.
No.
They stand alone separately.
I know these
Totally
stand
agree
alone
with you.
separately, but
You
You
know,
know,
I mean, it's just, this
we
is.
we now have an established track record.
Let me
Trust issues here, man.
let me show you an example of what's going on with the county. And I mean, I have nothing against people doing their job, doing it the right way. I don't have a problem. It's just.
Okay,
this is-
I think we can clear this up real
This is my
quick.
livelihood.
Mr. Lantis. Mr. Lantis. Please. Where, pull up on your phone right now where you got that CO. And just show it to us.
Yeah, this is the
Sammy, ask a question.
Go ahead.
I'd like to ask, the photos that are attached that are in the file are not a new residence. They look like an addition or something like that. Can somebody clean that up for me? Explain to me why the photos are of an older building. Anybody else see that, or is it just me?
Yeah, that was my original question.
Okay, I'm looking at something that looks like an addition to an older house with a beat up front door and, and everybody's telling me this is a new home. That's why I'm missing something here. That's why I was asking the question about whether this was a certificate of completion or a CO in a traditional sense.
Yeah, mine show an older home as well.
One, 201. Yeah, it doesn't even match the address that's on the case. Yeah, 8016 Bay Drive.
here's a sample of something that I had. I was helping this lady with the code enforcement case, and I went ahead. This is on a different address. They put in failure to provide residential miscellaneous permit stucco exterior of the house. They went into the system, and the description was a totally different description that was in the system. So people make mistakes, but I went ahead and had to send the email so it'd be corrected in the system because they put it in as a different case scope on it. They put it in as a wall instead of the stucco on the windows.
Okay. Terrace.
Just the pictures that you're looking at in there are the pictures of the contractor's house where the notice of violation was posted. It's not the house that was under construction.
Right. This is posted on his front door. Okay.
So, Mr. Lancis, I had asked you to pull something up on your phone where you got that
Yeah,
document. Is that what you're looking for?
I'm actually looking into the picture, sir.
Well, we don't want pictures. I don't want pictures of the document. I can take pictures of something all day long. I want the actual link where you downloaded that document from.
Oh, well, I don't have that in my phone, sir.
Okay.
I go, that's actually a screenshot from my PC.
Yeah, it doesn't help.
All right. So I think we're done with testimony at this point. Entertain a motion. Again, we have to do this in pieces. Allegations first and then recommendations second. So who's gonna motion allegations?
And the allegation is that he forged a CO.
Issued a false certificate of occupancy. Yes. That's allegation one.
I'll make a motion, find him guilty of allegation number one.
In a second. Okay. You ready to make a motion or not?
No, I'm not.
No.
I got
Okay.
it.
Ask your question.
Yeah, so I guess this might be for staff here, but I cannot find this property, 8016 Bay Drive on the Hillsborough County Acela interface, and it's not in the city of Tampa's either. Is that-
It was never put in Excel. We had to create a new
So it's
record
not in there.
so they can issue the correct certificate of occupancy.
You know, the thing that aggravates me, Mr. Rolando, when did you find out you had to be here? This morning?
No, sir, no, when I found out this, I was out of the country. I got back into the 24th.
Okay, because you're not organized. You're
No,
not
I'm not, I'm
prepared.
not, I'm really,
Now you're stumbling around.
I'm actually,
And this is a very serious
this
allegation.
is very serious. This is my life.
Right, and
This
you
is
said you've
my
been a
livelihood.
contractor since 2003 here, right?
Yes, sir.
And
Yes, sir.
with an unblemished record?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
And
I make
then
a-
I meet Mr. Roman and I get all sorts of problems. I don't know.
Yes,
He's been in front of the board before in 2012.
okay, all right. So yeah, so what is the,
You have lots of options.
I don't know that if we gave him 60 days, if he could verify that this is not a fraud, I think it's up to the county to prove that it's a fraudulent CO, but then hearing how it's done, anybody could take it off the internet and produce it the way he's doing it.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be a computer expert to do that.
What would you like to do? Henry? Microphone.
I think we need to table it for 30 days. I'll give him another 30 days to prove his case till the January hearing.
Yeah, I'll second that.
And if he cannot, then, the burden's on him right now. But I agree with Mike. I think that there's some burden on the county to sort of sort through this and make it clear to us that this mistake couldn't have happened from their end too. Sorry about that.
Well,
Is that your motion?
I also agree with that as well.
I have a motion to table till the January hearing.
Correct.
Okay, do I have a second?
I second.
We can't all do it at once. Mike? So Henry motion, McEnany second.
And I would like to follow up with, you better have your act together.
Yeah.
Come in here and you better, don't be shuffling through all your papers and stumbling
Oh,
around.
this is like a last minute.
Okay,
thing. I was
right, because
advised.
this is,
Yes, sir.
because your license is at stake here.
Yeah. yes,
I don't
sir.
know where you flew in from, but you might have to stay there. Because you won't be able to work here in Hillsborough County.
I do it.
Okay, and you feel you need to get with the county, you sit down, if you need to work with the county and find out if you truly didn't, forge this, you need to get with them and show them how you got it. And maybe you can convince them that, hey, look, this is how it happened.
Okay. Good. Anybody, any other comments? All those in favor of the motion as stated, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Aye. But it passes. Okay, so you have your instructions. Come back in January, you'll be noticed again by staff. Have everything in order, like
Yes,
a thesis, labeled, tabulated, get the documents in 2 weeks ahead of time to staff because they send it all out to us via email.
Okay.
Don't come in with scraps and bits of paper at the meeting
Yes, sir.
because we're not going to take the time to look at it. You need to be prepared. The burden is solely on you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. For years, we've elected under new business, we've always elected the chair and vice chair. The last meeting of the year, Joy pointed out that it's in the procedures of the board since '99 to do it in January. If you all would like to do it now, we just need to make a motion to have the election today rather than in January, have it seconded, vote on it. If we all agree, we can have the election.
I'd like to make a motion to have the election now at this meeting.
Second,
Mosley will second.
all's in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so we'll have the election now. Nominations for chair.
I'd like to nominate Sam Greenberg.
Need a second.
Mosley will second.
Thank you. Anybody else? Great. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. I nominate Mike McEnany as vice chair,
Second.
which is not legal, so somebody else needs to nominate him.
I'll nominate Mike McEnany for vice chair.
Mosley will second.
Under discussion, Mike, do you have enough time to do it?
Yes.
Thank you.
That would have been your out. Anybody else? Any other nominations? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Everybody has 10 more minutes. I want to show you something that I got involved with this week involving flood in the city. Now, we were all here. I'm going to come up. Okay, this is in the city of Tampa. And the original or the older flood map from '08, this was the VEAE line out here on the edge of the property. Okay. The homeowner didn't get his permit application in quite timely enough and waited till the new maps were issued, which you can see January 26th of 2021. That's the new BE line. The BE line goes through the pool. Okay. Couple of little issues. When you build a pool in a VE zone, it has to be supported on pilings, number one. Number two, you either elevate the pool totally out of the velocity zone, which means the underside of the pool structure, the bottom of the pool slab, has to be above the design flood elevation, which is going to be 15 plus 1 or 16 feet. So your pool deck, even if it's only a 6-foot pool, is at 22 feet relative to the ground, which is like 6 point something feet. So you're putting in a whole set of stairs with open risers and all kinds of fun stuff. The other option is to build it totally buried in the ground, or you can build it at grade, but the walls have to break away, which is a challenge in itself, and not flood the neighborhood. Likewise, the VE, the coastal AE zone, which was new to this property, is not through the house. This is the new flood. The new flood line goes through the house, and the coastal is out in the street. So fortunately, the homeowner built the house on pilings. Now in the city, and if you want, I can forward you the city ordinance about floods. I know it affects Henry probably more than anybody else in the room. They require in a coastal AE that you be on pilings. In the county, it's not required. Kind of a little thing, but big dollars, one versus the other. And with the coastal AE, they have more rules. They cut out some of the things that are in the Florida Building Code as local amendments. So if you're looking at a house like this, be aware. I'll ask a couple of questions. Don't make them too hard. If any part of the structure is in the higher zone, the whole thing's in the higher zone. The other thing I discussed with staff is I want to get Dave Jennings to come in and do like Kyle did a couple of months ago and compare, not complain, but compare and see what the differences are between the county and the city, since we're the flood damage control board for the whole county. It's through the interlocal agreement. So I think it would behoove us to have a little more detail. Like I said, I can send you the ordinance. It's only 36 pages. And it's copied pretty much out of the building code and ASCE 24-14, which is the current flood standard that's referenced in the back of the code book. See if you'd be willing to do that. I'll teach that. or if you're not interested, it's fine, but I think it's enough of a difference that does impact us, and since we have flood cases on occasion, it'd be nice to have a updated bunch of information.
There isn't in the flood ordinance, the county flood ordinance, countywide, there isn't something that would supersede and take precedent. The city of Tampa has the option to do something different.
Correct.
I guess the question is, why would they? If it,
Because they can.
yeah.
When this all came about a couple of years ago, when the maps were proposed, when I say we, Gene Henry and I talked to John and to Adam and said, as a homeowner living on the water, I'd like to have the best protection going in. Changing the map after a house is built and you have non-conforming structures doesn't help you. And that's what this homeowner has, is a non-conforming house. He's not even moved in, doesn't have a CO yet. But when he goes to get his flood insurance, because of the way the new lines are, he's going to get slapped with higher premiums because it's non-conforming. We had one of those in Ruskin a few years ago, and I pleaded with the homeowner who we knew. I wasn't the engineer, I reviewed it for the county, and said, do this, you're going to spend about $5,000 extra now versus $5,000 extra a year in flood insurance. And if you've seen the news, flood insurance ain't going down, it's going up. So the county and the city typically were pretty much in alignment, but not now. This is a little different. Dave's opinion and John's are not in alignment, which is their privilege as the authorities. Okay. So anybody else, anything new? Other than that, I thank everybody for the time. Wish everybody happy and healthy holidays. We'll see everybody in January and be safe. Thank you. We're adjourned.
Have a great day.
Yeah.